Good evening. The time is 6 p.m., and I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Lebanon City Schools Board of Education for May 19th, 2025 to order. If everybody would stand and join me as the ROTC presents the colors.
Carry colors. Present colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry colors. Order colors. Colors. Colors turn. Arch.
Thank you. We're going to bring them back in a minute, but I think we can do the roll call real quick, Mrs. Irvin.
Mr. McCutcheon?
Here.
Mr. Gliotti?
Here.
Mr. Lane?
Here.
Mrs. Dalton?
Here.
Mrs. Cope?
Thank you all for being here tonight. If you guys could introduce yourselves, and ladies, introduce yourselves, what class you're in, what you like best about ROTC, and then tell us what your dream job will be when you're done with high school or college or after you've done furthered your education.
Hi, I'm Henry Pizza. I'm in the class of 2027. I'm a sophomore. I'm Henry Pizza. I'm in the class of 2027. What I like most about JROTC is how disciplined it has helped me to become as a person, and what my dream job after high school would be being an officer in the Air Force. So,
Excellent.
My name is Josiah Wilson. I am in the class of 2027. I'm also a sophomore. What I like about JROTC is that it's taught me discipline, and it's changed the way I reflect on things. And what I plan to do after high school is go to college and get commissioned and go into the Air Force.
Nice.
I'm Ryder Abe. I'm in the class of 2028. What I like most about the JROTC program is the community it builds, and I hope to become an engineer after high school.
Excellent.
I'm Zoe Ansberry. I'm a part of the class of 2028. Something I really like about JROTC is getting to meet new people that have the same interests as me. Something I plan to do after high school is enlist into the United States Marine Corps.
Thank you all very, very much.
Yeah.
Good luck to you all. Disappointed no one said superintendent when they were done. It kind of shocked me.
It's a smart group.
I thought all four of them were going to say superintendent. Okay, moving on to number 4, I need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, Ms. Irvin?
Mrs. Dalton?
Yes.
Mr. McCutcheon?
Yes.
Mr. Gliotti?
Yes.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Number 5, communications and reports. Item A, presentation of invited guests, and I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Severs.
Yes, so this evening we wanted to recognize several teachers that are with us this evening, and so they're really thrilled and ready to stand up. I know that about both of them, but so within the last couple of weeks, we had a recognition ceremony at the Warren County Career Center for this year's Project Excellence winners. Project Excellence is given out every year to teachers from every school district in the county by the Area Progress Council. It's been going on for 28 years, something like that. close to 30 years, and they recognize teachers every year. They don't talk about it as an award. It's not something that you've earned. They believe it's an investment, right? They talked about the investment. If you listen to the folks talk about it that night, they want to recognize people that are doing great things in the classroom and invest in them continuing to do better, reward them for that, and also like something to shoot for other people as well. So this year, the recognition is Miss Amy Paul from Bowman. We'll talk a little bit more specifically about her in a second. And Miss Kathy Vaughn at Lebanon Junior High. Kathy was unable to attend the ceremony because she was leading the trip to Washington, D.C. And so she didn't get to give her speech. Would you like to give a speech tonight, Miss Vaughn? You sure? You were really looking forward to that speech, weren't you? So I want to just take a moment, and then what we would like to do, if you don't mind, is just get a picture with you guys and the board members before you go. It will just be for us. We won't blast. Yeah, we will. We'll blast it out everywhere. So this was one of my favorite things. So these pictures that are on the screen here, we had the opportunity. It's one of my favorite days of the year. I sent in Miss Planica, our communications director, in the classroom with their building principal, and they're kind of just like taking pictures around the room or looking. I think Amy thought they were like checking for furniture or curriculum or something. And then I came in the room and got to talk to the students in the classroom about the teachers, and then surprised them with telling them about the award. And really up there in the top, you can't really see it, but Amy was she was shocked about it. It was awesome. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's something we started doing several years ago. There were a gym full of kids for Kathy, and they all cheered and got excited. So this next slide here, this is something that we wrote up and put out. And so Amy has shifted now to TESOL teacher at Bowman. Prior to that was, what grade were you doing then? First and second, so that's what's listed there, but she's doing TESOL. So these are some of her kids from this year. This is what her people said about her. These are nominated by community members, staff members, colleagues, some students at times. And so we tried to capture some of the essence of what was written about her. But Amy is known as a compassionate, dedicated advocate for her students and their families. Her colleagues describe her as someone who works tirelessly each day to ensure her students succeed, not just academically, but in life. Direct quote from a couple of the things here. She communicates with families to support academic growth, healthcare needs, daily routines, and more. Her nomination letters read, "She's a glowing example to her students and their families, always celebrating their successes with joy and pride." And so we're so thankful to have you working in our district, and I know that these kids are blessed to have you in their classroom. So thank you for everything that you do. And then for Kathy, this is Kathy teaches 7th and 8th grade physical education at Lebanon Junior High, and they described her as the heartbeat of the building, a steady source of kindness, encouragement, and positivity. Her acts of kindness come naturally. Her nomination letters read, "In her class, students feel welcome, supported, and empowered. She has a remarkable way of making everyone feel included, creating an environment where students are encouraged to grow and push beyond their limits, and always knowing she's cheering them on." And so I just wanted to congratulate both of them this evening. This happens sometimes, like, nobody gets to see it, right? There's an award ceremony, unless you're invited, you didn't get to go that night. But it's a really special thing, and I think it's something worth recognizing on behalf of the Board of Education as well. So would you like to say anything to the board or to anybody?
I was surprised it was a big honor. I do want to say, as a parent, I've got 3 children in Lebanon schools, and I couldn't say more positive about this district and how amazing and hardworking every one of my kids' teachers have been. I have 2 kids with special needs, and I have, it's just really been truly a blessing. Like I tell everybody, Lebanon is an incredible school district. So I know that's not about my job, but as a parent, it's really cool. So thank you for everything.
Okay, thank you. Anything, you sure?
I'm just glad to be a warrior.
We're glad that you're here as well. You guys brought faces on a stick. Is there anything exciting that you would like to say? I will say this is the first time, this is 4 years of me going, and it's the first time a student has accepted the award on behalf of their teacher at the ceremony. And Miss Berger did a really good job of saying much more than Kathy would have ever said in the speech. So if you guys would come forward, we'd like to get a picture of the board members that are here and you. And videoed or
She did.
sent you the video. She
Yeah.
was very.
I wanted yeah, I wanted you to write mine.
I would know next time. That's what I need.
You want it? Congratulations.
I do not need it. No.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you. That was the exciting portion of the evening. Guys.
Thanks for letting us go kayak.
You're welcome. I hope the kayaking trip was good this year.
It was 75 kids.
75 kids.
Oh, wow.
She talked me into letting them kayak down the Potomac on their DC trip.
Oh, nice.
We do have another award if you guys want to
If you want to
stay
stick around for
listen.
just a moment.
We have one
Actually,
more.
I forgot about that. So this is a surprise to Isaac. There's a reason that your parents came this evening. Would you like to talk, Mr. McCutcheon, or?
Sure. Mr. Lane came up with the idea of creating a board scholarship last year. So we did create that. And it's so new and it's so secret and it's so private, we didn't tell anyone we were going to do it. So it is legal, but just no one knows. And this year it goes to our student body representative, Mr. Isaac Parlett. And last meeting, I pick on him a little bit during meetings. I chastised him for missing football practice to come to a board meeting. Did not agree with that. But I said he was number 3 on the field and number 1 in our hearts. So Mr. Parlett is the first recipient of Lebanon City Schools Board of Education scholarship.
And I had to work really hard to find these pictures today, by the way. We'd also like to get a picture with you and the Board of Education. Would you like to say anything about your experience this year as the student representative? Or you don't have to give your presentation yet, but.
Oh, yeah, it was just cool being a part of just learning how to public speak and just be in a professional setting with all these people is awesome.
Great. You've done a great job. We're happy to have you here this year. We wish you the best of luck.
Thanks.
Out of the 4 student body representatives we've had, you're easily in the top 4.
Yeah. If you guys want to slide back up, we'll do the board, and if you guys want to get in one as well, Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they decided.
Just like this way a little bit, so the logo's centered behind them. Keep going. Try, keep going.
Make sure you get his shoes in the picture.
Those are trained blue shoes. I like those. Okay, Mom, Dad, would you grab it and sit in the over there as well?
Yes, that's.
Thanks.
So you won't get this tomorrow night. They won't announce this at the awards ceremony, which is why we tried to do it tonight.
Our first year, we kind of forgot that part.
Oh, that's right, you do, yeah. I'll pass this along to those. I appreciate it. Thank you. Great job. Thank you. Pleasure to have you. Thank you. Sir? Okay, that was the excitement. There you go.
I've looked through the agenda, there's no award for Mike Lane tonight. I'm leaving.
Thank you.
All right. Item,
I think he likes it here. So
Right.
cute.
item C is hearing of the public, and we have no one signed up, so we will move on to item D, student board member update. Mr. Parlett.
All right, so we have our high school update for May. First up is our NHS blood drive. NHS hosted a blood drive on April 25th, and it was tied for the most successful since 2010. 93 students registered to give blood, 69 were successful, and 85 attempted to donate. There was 26 first-time donors, and there was over 207 lives will be positively impacted because of total donations. There's Mr. Reynolds in the picture. Yeah. We had the Through the Years on Friday. LHS seniors completed the annual Through the Years walk through all the schools in the district. It was a fun way to reminisce on our last day of high school.
Were any of those buildings more special to you, or did you enjoy anything more than the rest on your trip?
It was just weird being back in all the younger schools with how small the lockers and everything are. Yeah.
Didn't feel like that's that small when you were there?
No. The IT program took a trip to Cobalt. Members of the IT club recently took an educational trip to Cobalt Electronic Recycling, where they explored the vital role of sustainability in the tech industry. Students got a first-hand look at how electronics are responsibly recycled, refurbished, and repurposed. Hope Squad hosted Hope Week. This was a fun way to spread awareness for mental health, and there was different themes every day, and there's a lot of people that participated. We have Global Media. The Global Media crew had a great showing at the Blue Chip Media Awards, taking the prize in 5 categories over 8 nominations. We had the Best Public Service Announcement, the Best Documentary, Best Short Subject, Best Narrative Film, and Best Musical Performance, and all the people listed there. And then for upcoming events, we have graduation this Saturday, May 24th.
Do you have a speech this Saturday?
Yep.
Are you looking forward to that? Or?
Not particularly.
Well, you will do a great job. You've had a great year this year. We appreciate you being here for board meetings, even missing football practice, even though Mr. McCutcheon doesn't agree.
And when you give your speech, I'll be sitting right behind you. And don't worry, I won't be throwing anything at you. I'll probably be whispering stuff. Like, don't screw this up. Everyone's videoing you.
So, wish you the best of luck. What's the plan for next year? Where are you going to school, and what are you going to do?
I'm going to Florida State University for mechanical engineering next year.
Nice.
Awesome. That's great. Congratulations. Thanks a lot.
You have a great kid. Great kid there.
You've learned a lot this year. You got to see a lot of interesting thing at board meetings for a while, and I wish you the best of luck going forward, right? It's been a great learning experience, so.
Okay. Item E, board committee reports.
Okay.
A, Ms. Dalton, you're up.
I don't have anything to report this month.
All right. That's good because B, CAT committee, Mr. Gliotti has a lot to report.
We do have a lot to report. It's good news. So the Community Audit Advisory Committee met today. It's the first time we've met in several months. And one of the first things we looked at was a financial health indicator, the final for the 2023 year. And it's a tool where the state looks at all of the school districts. They examined 17 key indicators. And Lebanon, we were in great condition on all of them. There was one that was noted that needed attention, which indicated that for the year, we spent more than we received, but that was also budgeted and planned. So that was not a surprise to us. That was also not uncommon to other districts. The purpose of the tool is to understand ahead of a fiscal emergency if we're headed towards a fiscal emergency. And our school district is in very, very good condition. We also moved on to look at the 5-year projections that Mrs. Irvin prepared for us. The good news was plentiful there. We have a $15 million carryover projected right now in 2029. The better news is that we wouldn't necessarily need to go to voters to ask for a new levy until 2028, maybe 2029. And the projections are still in flux due to a very dynamic state and federal government situation right now with policy, so we may need to come back and revisit even as early in a couple of months. But the numbers that you would want to know, and our indicators are very good. Our revenues are up, our tax revenue is up, our spending is down. And we saw savings in the areas of insurance and retirement to the tune of about $1 million. And we have benefited in tax revenue from the TIFs, which are economic development plans that have been growing, as well as tax revenues have come in over plan. Now, all of this, Karen hedged appropriately and said, I have to let you know that the state and federal governments are very much in flux, and we may need to revise these soon. But at this time, we have a very positive outlook, and I don't want to steal Karen's thunder, but how was that for a executive summary? Is that all right? All right. And that's our report.
Thank you, Mr. Gliotti. Our legislative liaison, Ms. Cope, is not here tonight. We will move on to Mr. Lane and the Warren County Career Center.
Thank you. The Career Center actually meets this Thursday because last Thursday was their graduation ceremony. Happy to report there were a little over 400 graduates at UD Arena on Thursday, and Lebanon represented over 25% of those. Lots of kids going to college, joining the workforce, or enlisting in the military. So there's a lot of very impressive certifications. And I think maybe about 20 students graduated with their firefighters certifications. That was kind of neat to see them announced that way when they went across. But more to come next month as we have our actual meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. Number 6, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting dated April 21st, 2025.
So moved?
Second.
Any comments, corrections, or questions? Hearing none, Ms. Irvin, roll call, please.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McCutcheon?
Yes.
Mr. Gliotti?
Yes.
Mrs. Dalton?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Number 7, financial consent items. I need a motion to approve the financial consent items A through R.
So moved.
Second?
I will turn it over to you, Ms. Irvin.
Okay. So this month, we're going to go through some of the forecast changes. I'll try to keep it pretty brief. But the first page is just a reminder of where we started. So November of 2024 was our most recent forecast. You see at the end of the 5 years, overarching balance, we had about $9 million. That green box is where we were at projecting for this current year. You see the expenses were outpacing the revenues, and that continued to grow as we grew out in the next 5 years. So moving on to May, we've had a lot of different things going on, a lot of different changes. You can go to the next slide. So just an FYI, the report I used here changed formats. So it looks a little bit different. Probably moving forward, this is the one that we will use, unless you want me to keep with the old one. I actually kind of like the old one. But this is the report they gave us. So here we go. So 2025 stayed in the same position. When we come to November of next year, you remember we'll have a year drop off and we'll add a brand new year. But for right now, 2025 stays pretty similar there. But you'll notice that line, you can hardly tell a difference between revenues and expenses. So when we look at the actual numbers, you'll see that the deficit spend this year is not as great as it was last year, and it wasn't big last year either. So really good news in how the fiscal year is actually turning out this year. A lot of things going into this, but at the end of the day, the 5-year balance at the end of the 5 years is $15 million as opposed to that $9 million it was in November. Again, a lot of things have been moving around. So in the next slide, we'll do a comparison. You can see some of the trend line. For the May forecast, it kind of stabilizes a little bit in these first couple of years, which is really awesome from a Treasury perspective. Just maintaining some stability in these next few years. Now, with that being said, as I've mentioned many times, anything could change in the next 2 months, anything could change tomorrow, but politically, a lot of movement is happening in public school finance. So it could be in 2 months that I come back to the board and say, so much has changed that I need to redo the forecast. That is a reality for us. So just be aware that this is where we're at today. It's just a picture in time, but really positive outlook from November to May. So in the next slide, we'll look at the actual numbers, and you can see what I was mentioning for the end of this fiscal year. We've got 10 of the 12 months built into the software here. So we've got 10 months of actual expenses. We're looking to still deficit spend this year, but only by about $170,000. So our revenue totals are pretty spot on. As we typically talk, we get the bulk of our revenue in property taxes. We've collected all of that so far this year. So those are pretty close. The only two things that are fluctuating are the expense side still. But $170,000, not bad, followed by a year of potentially not deficit spending. That's huge. That's great news. And then, of course, the exponential growth of expenses over revenues continues like we thought it would. But hopefully, as we get out in those years, we'll get the expenses down, we'll maintain good revenues, and we'll see those numbers fluctuate. But again, snap in time, this is what it's looking like. Right now, currently, a 3-month carryover, to maintain a 3-month carryover of expenses, we're looking at 19 to 21 million would be what we would need to maintain as a cash balance to maintain 3 months worth of expenses. So we're looking at asking for new money around 2028. Now it's very close, that 19 million. So if we're asking for it in 28, collections in 29, depending on how the next few years play out, we'll keep monitoring that and come back to the board with any changes as we continue out into the future. So some of the key takeaways, really positive, really positive from last forecast. It's not what I was expecting to bring to the board, so I'm really thrilled to be able to present this. We did see the deficit spending. It started last year. We also anticipated that it wouldn't be as much this year, but that margin became much smaller. So really excited to see that maybe next year we'll even have a positive trend before hitting back into the deficit. Just pushing out that need for new money as long as we can. Spending responsibly, but also spending appropriately so that our kids have the right education. And then, of course, the variables, state legislature, federal legislature, those are the things that are impacting us the most right now. And so we just continue to ask folks to reach out to our representatives, let them know the positive things happening here at Lebanon City Schools, just so that we can maintain proper funding levels so we can continue to support our kids. I gave you a little graphic here. We've mentioned this many times, but that green bar is revenue, our primary revenue. That is property tax. So property tax is a big piece for us. Some changes that have been proposed could really impact that level. Some proposals, not as much. And I think the story we want to share is we're open to listening to our constituents. We hear some of the stories coming out. We just want to make sure we do it across the board fairly so that all of our students are still represented. We still have funding for all of our students. So again, 58% right now is property tax alone. Then the blue bar is our state funding. If our state funding goes away, if our property tax funding goes away, we're left with 6% of our revenues. It's a big thing that we're talking about. And so we just ask that our legislature look at this really carefully before making big dramatic shifts for us. And this is just one school district out of many in the state. So a big thing, but a very positive outcome for this forecast. So going into, we're 10 months completed. So this graph pulls in the new forecast. So before last month we were looking at the November, this pulls it back into May. So we're looking right now, we're sitting at 133 days of cash. Target 120, we're anticipating ending the year with 118. So right on target. I love to see that. That's really great. And then going specifically into revenues versus expenses, we've received about 90% of our revenues. Again, I'm pretty close on the budget because we've received most of our we received all of our property tax, but most of our revenues because of that. So I can get a really good, accurate figure on revenues. Expenses were also really close, 82% compared to the 83% that would be targeted around this time of year. So again, we think the forecast for this year is very close, which always makes the future years that much closer. So looking good here. We've had a great year so far this year. Any questions?
No questions, and we will move on. Item B is some monthly reports. C is amended appropriations. D is an amended certificate of estimated resources for fiscal year 2025. E is generally our fund transfer that we do every month. F is a list of donations, and we appreciate all of those. Didn't know there was an S at the end of that, Mr. Seaver's name. G is fund name change and purpose expansion for the
So-
Bowman Book. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me talk about that one a little bit. We had originally the board had approved the creation of the Bowman Book Program. It was a donation of money that was sent in to provide students who were attending the Scholastic Book Fairs, but who couldn't afford those books. It was setting aside some funds for those kids. Our buildings they're no longer having the Scholastic Book Fairs for a variety of reasons. But because of that, we wanted to make sure that the funds were still targeting that particular population. So we're asking the board to approve an expansion. It's still used for the same students, but it can be used in more than just for books. So if there's something else that's preventing them from learning, this fund can support that. And so those ideas can come from the buildings for that, or specifically for Bowman. But, so that's what that is doing.
Good. Excellent. H is student fees, and in your packet, there's two of them, one K through 8, and the other one is for the high school, 9 through 12. I, to approve the creation of the Unplug and Play Fund for Bowman Primary School.
And let me talk about that one a little bit. So this year, Bowman has really done a great job incentivizing kids to get off of devices. And we've had a lot of generous donations from community members, from businesses. And they've used those funds to provide prizes for those kids to incentivize this Unplug and Play initiative. It's become such a popular and effective thing that they decided to move all those funds out into a separate fund to continue this into next year. So a really great program that's really expanding, and we're just asking the board to create a fund so we can track those funds specifically.
Excellent. Well, I also think Mr. Sievers led the book study on how bad technology is for little ones. And Mr. Gliotti and our guest, Miss Laura, we attended a lecture last month about, technology and how important it is to get these kids to be unplugged. So excellent. I think it's a good idea. J, approve the memorandum of understanding between Lebanon City Schools and our bus drivers to attend the Ohio Association for Pupil Transportation.
Do you have any questions about that? Does anybody? We think it's a really good opportunity for them to attend some professional development over the summer, but it's a non-contract day for them, and so we're willing to, those that want to participate in that, flexing professional day through the school year, so they give them the opportunity to go to this in the summer and trading it for a day where they wouldn't transport students during the school year because we have professional time. So we needed to do that flex time for them. So.
Excellent. K is to approve the memorandum of understanding between Lebanon City Schools and LEA to revise our supplemental salary schedule. L, to approve the new 5-year forecast that Ms. Irvin just presented. M is some temporary appropriations for 2026. N is to approve the 2025-2026 substitute temporary position salary schedule. O is a list of 44 activity, purpose, and budget statements from our clubs, which is great. It's wonderful. P, approved board resolution for payment in lieu of transportation for the 2024-2025 school year. Q is two then and nows. One's from SWOCA and the other one looks like came from the bus garage. And then R is one, approval for type 6 parental transport agreement for 2025 and 2026. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns about items A through R? No?
No.
Hearing none, Ms. Irvin, if you could do the roll, please.
Mrs. Dalton?
Yes.
Mr. McCutcheon?
Yes.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Gliotti?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Number 8, public records requests. The board does acknowledge the receipt of 3 public records requests as presented by the treasurer in your board packet. Number 9, I'm looking for a motion to approve the final reading of the following 29 school policies.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Severs, any comments, questions?
I will answer any questions you may have, but I don't know where to begin on, sent the update, I sent the overview and the policies. If anybody has any questions, I can answer them specifically, but.
I didn't.
It's the annual,
Yeah, I didn't
semi-annual
see.
updates to that, that come with change of board of law,
Yeah.
so.
Lots of little language changes. So, all right. Any other?
One that I do want to point out, because we actually had one of these already that just happened, is that as a district, policy 5113 is number 12 on your list. Our district's Board of Education policies have not allowed inter-district open enrollment. So unless you live in the school district, you're not allowed to attend Lebanon City Schools, except for under state law and our contract. If your parent works here, you can attend with your parent from another district type of thing. So we don't allow open enrollment, and a lot of schools in our area do. Some schools have begun to use it for athletic recruiting type of purposes in the Cincinnati area. Space is limitation for us. It's always been something our district has not allowed. State law did change to where we are required to allow open enrollment for active duty military families. So if they live in Mr. Gliotti's hometown, or work in Mr. Gliotti's hometown, but don't want to live there, right? Used to be you worked at Wright Pat, you lived close to Wright Pat. Now you can work and live anywhere. But they have the ability to open enroll into any other Ohio public school now if you're active duty. We actually had a family ask about that recently in terms of, so this policy wasn't in effect, but the state law is. So we do have an open enrollment policy now. We did not have one at all before, but this allows only for the situation of military families. So we got some questions about like, what, we're now allowing open enrollment? No, it's just for this niche group of families. So that was something I thought worth noting, that is something people have asked about in the past with open enrollment, but unless they're active duty, it's still not allowable for the district.
Anything else? Ms. Irvin, roll call, please.
Mr. Gliotti?
Yes.
Mrs. Dalton?
Yes.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McCutcheon?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Number 10, other educational consent items. I'm looking for a motion to approve items A and B, please.
So moved.
Second.
So A is to approve the resolution to rescind the prior board action and adopt the new special education model policy. And B is to approve Ms. Ledford to attend the 9/11 Memorial Museum's Institute for Educators in New York in July.
Model policy is something that we approved a resolution previously. They were trying to update special education policy in the state to make sure, and what they found is that there were actually things in the special education model policy that went further than what was required by law. And so they were looking to clean some of those things up. And we, in the past, have always just approved the state's model policy and not done something separate ourselves. So when the state model policy changes, we update it as a school district. So that's what this is about.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, Ms. Irvin, roll, please.
Mr. McCutcheon?
Yes.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Gliotti?
Yes.
Mrs. Dalton?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Number 11, personnel. I need a motion to approve the personnel consent items A through L, please.
So moved.
Second?
And I'll just go ahead and read through these. A is a list of retirements. B is several resignations. C is employment after BCI, FBI background checks are done. D is substitute employment. E is a list of supplementals. There's quite a few of those. F is a board resolution for the employment of non-licensed coaches. And also a good list, great people on this list.
You notice that we started listing them here instead of putting them in a separate location, just to have it specified who was, non-teaching licensed people compared to those that are. These are for all of our fall supplementals at this point in time.
G is 5 change of status. H is a list of volunteers, and we thank them very, very much. I is our tutors, pending acceptable BCI, FBI background checks. J is a list of stipends. K is game workers, and I love the name Ryan Nolan. Nolan Ryan.
Thank you.
L is some leave of absence. I think that's it.
So I do have a question. So we were making some good progress on bus drivers, and I noticed there's several bus drivers on here.
Yeah, so we have, I figured that was gonna get brought up in discussion. We do have quite a few that have applied and are in the pipeline, so we think that we can absorb quite a few of these. It was mentioned to me the other day by our transportation supervisor in a discussion. We think we have maybe 11 either retirements or resignations heading into next school year. One of the things we noticed that when we were, looking at this group of staff members, and we've said this all along, when we started talking about having a shortage of drivers, it was an older population of employees for us, and we knew that there was coming a point in time where they would use, could retire soon. So we're gonna have to, continue to go back out, promote, see what we can do. We do have some that had started this year as a substitute, or we're looking that we can probably now apply for, positions and get into there, but it will be a challenge for us again.
What's the current pipeline look like? You mentioned.
To answer, I don't know. We have several that, I want to say we had 5 or 6 that had been approved and that were being trained, that are recently, coming through the system. So I'm hoping that this can absorb quite a bit of it, but we'll be hiring bus drivers probably every day, advertising for bus drivers the rest of my career. I mean, it's something that's going to continue to happen, so. The nature of the job is challenging. The hours are difficult because there's a morning shift and an afternoon shift, and so it makes it hard to find some other employment if they need that other employment in the middle of the day or at the end of the day. So that, we just need to keep after it. But
Any other questions for A through L? Hearing none, Ms. Irvin, roll, please.
Mr. Gliotti?
Yes.
Mr. McCutcheon?
Yes.
Mrs. Dalton?
Yes.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Number 12, other business. I need a motion, looking for a motion to approve item A.
So moved.
Second?
And so A is approve the resolution for adoption of a tax-deferred payroll deduction plan for the cost of restoring service credit to credit members of STRS Ohio. And boy, Mr. Severs, I read this thing several
I
times.
think there's a
Could you-
few words in there that shouldn't be there. I apologize
Okay.
for that.
Can you just
Yeah.
give me the layman's term? Because I read it and read it and read it and.
So I'll jump in real
Okay.
quick. This is something we already have with SERS. This is specifically with STRS. When an employee comes into the district as a district employee and they have prior service years of credit that's not in the state of Ohio, they are allowed to purchase those and then it becomes credit to them in the state. So specifically with STRS, where we have a plan with STRS, but it is not tax deferred. So they have to buy their service years, but they have to do it after we've taken out all the taxes. This allows that employee to purchase their service years prior to any taxes being removed. So it could be significant depending on the cost of those service years that they're buying. It could be significant in the taxes they don't have to pay. So we already have this with SERS,
Okay.
we just needed to have it with STRS.
Then the employee would then pay the taxes on the retirement benefit when they receive it later. Yes.
When they retire. Okay. That's what I thought it meant, but
And this is how all other STRS contributions currently are being done is tax
they're
deferred.
tax deferred.
Yeah.
But when.
If it's a lump sum purchase or something like that, then it has to.
When they
Yeah.
buy back or when they're buying years, it wasn't that way, but now
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Okay. Any other questions? Ms. Irvin?
Mrs. Dalton?
Yes.
Mr. McCutcheon?
Yes.
Mr. Gliotti?
Yes.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Before we go to the next one, I didn't see the board comments on here, but I do want to throw out there that I had the opportunity to attend the LHS drama performance of Freaky Friday in early May, and it was outstanding. It's been a busy spring, so I haven't gotten as many events as I would like to, but I want to congratulate that staff, including all of the crew behind the scenes. They did a great job getting things on and off, and the talent in that performance was, like I said, was outstanding. So I just want to make sure I call that out.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lane. Did anybody else have a comment they wanted to make?
No, sir.
All right, well, then moving on to number 13, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved?
Second.
Ms. Irvin, roll, please.
Mrs. Dalton?
Yes.
Mr. McCutcheon?
Yes,
Mr. Gliotti?
Yes.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Motion carried.
meeting is adjourned.